Hey, what's up YouTube? It's JTGurgs here with yet another Minecraft video. Now, if you've seen my previous Minecraft video, you'll recognize this structure we're currently inside. It is my previous Roman culture project, the Pantheon that I built. But we are not focusing on that, nor are we focusing on this chaos from when I was blowing stuff up a few weeks ago either. We're not focusing on either of those two. We are focusing instead on this, my Roman aqueduct. Today I'm going to talk a bit about aqueducts, so let's get right down to it. First thing about aqueducts is that there were quite a few of them. If I recall correctly, there were at least 10 or 12 of them in the entire Roman Empire. They built a lot of aqueducts. Unfortunately, and this leads into fact number 2, they were lined with lead, so although they were carrying and transporting water, which is necessary for life, as I'm sure you all know, while they were carrying the vital substance water, they were also carrying the poisonous lead in said water, so while it was sustaining the Romans, it was also slowly killing them. So that's very pleasant. Not. Oh my gosh. I'm improvising all this, so please lower your standards for my commentary. Just don't expect anything top-notch. Anyway, now let's let the water go. Fact number 3 while we're up here. The Roman aqueducts would get their water from a really reliable source, like a huge lake or river at the top of a huge mountain or something. And then the water would just flow down the aqueduct, which, fact number 4, they'd try to keep the slope of the aqueduct constant throughout. So you wouldn't have... Hello, zombie. So you wouldn't have it be kind of shallow, and then suddenly drop super steep, or vice versa. Off to the side real quick, it's vice versa, not vice versa. That's just, don't say it the second way. That's just no. That's very incorrect. Not as incorrect as me digging up those grass blocks just now. Anyway, now we have the water down here. Let's throw our water bucket. Why the heck not? And hello, skeleton. Even out the water, because I'm kind of OCD like that. And some of you, my friends on YouTube, probably are too. But now that we have the water down here, we don't need these streams I made. So, you might be wondering, what exactly do the Romans use the aqueducts to sustain? Well, obviously they'd get their drinking water from there, but they'd also use that water for farming and for the baths. And then they'd have a sewage system, which I unfortunately did not construct. I should have done one under my farm, but whatever. They'd have a sewage system that goes into, if I recall correctly, the Tiber River. But do please feel free to fact check me on that, and if I am wrong, please leave a comment correcting me. Anyway, so like I said previously, the Romans would try to keep the slope for the aqueduct as constant as possible. This means that if the aqueduct got close to a mountain, it wouldn't necessarily cut straight through it like I have over here with this simulated mountain. Rather, it would go around it to try to keep its center. Because whether it has a sharp corner going left or right, the Romans didn't get concerned by that. It's about whether it could keep running, which is only determined by the slope of the aqueduct remaining constant. And rather shallow too, because they didn't want water to be flowing extremely fast through the aqueduct. Then that could end up flooding Rome, and that is just not good, because as smart as the Romans were, that they would not want to flood their own city. That would be hard for even them to deal with. One last fact about Roman aqueducts. The Romans actually messed up a little bit. You see, if they were between two mountains, they would have it go like what the stone bricks are doing, keeping a constant slope. But engineers and scientists much better. Where was I? That's right. The Romans actually messed up because they'd have a constant slope, but engineers and scientists have found, after the fall of the Roman Empire, have found that as long as the overall slope stays the same, then it doesn't matter if smaller segments do wacko stuff like what this iron section is doing. So the Romans, instead of using the stone to build this portion and then keep it with pillars, they could have just built a tunnel with this iron blocks, with these iron blocks that I have. I'm sorry, that probably made no sense. Let me figure out how to English real quick. So the Romans tried to keep a constant slope at all costs, but scientists and engineers, I'm gonna guess wildly that the calculus was involved with this, but they found that you can have it go straight down, straight across, and then straight back up, and as long as the straight back up part ends at the same point where you would have gone if you had gone diagonally, then you're still good to go. So now, unfortunately, Minecraft physics won't have the water go all the way down and then all the way back up, because once it gets to the bottom, it just doesn't fill all the way up. But water would just go. But if it did, water would just go down this tunnel, getting rid of these torches in the process. I planted them simply because it'd be easier to see with them there. But the water would go down that tunnel I made, across here, and then straight back up to here. And then since the overall slope is the same when you account for the difference here, because this portion minus this portion, this portion here minus this portion here is the same change in height as this portion over here, and it's the same horizontal distance as this over here. So my fellow math majors who understand what the heck I just said will know what I mean when I say that even though the slope is constantly changing, the mean slope, the average slope, is the same. That's why the gravity would still work. And then the water would just flow all the way down to our happy little wheat farm, like I said over here. So yeah, that's my final Roman culture project, and actually my final assignment ever as a high school student, because I'm graduating on Friday. And since I brought that up, I'd like to dedicate this video to my good buddy Sean, who helped me fight senioritis this year. He's a really good friend of mine, and he helped me survive senioritis this year, like I just said. So, Sean, when you're listening to this video in class, thank you very much, fam. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is JTGurgs signing off.